It is midweek extra. It is John Gibbons. I'm joined by Jamie McKenna in person. That's exciting, isn't it?
And I've just noticed you've got the same colour top as that.
We've hung each other. We matched. We're green festive for Christmas. Got Craig Hannan. See him all the time. And had Melia. We had a pint last week. That was novel, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
2 dads having a pint.
Oh, yeah, it was nice. That was the best bit. Socialising, just, well, everything up until Leeds. Everything up until Leeds goals. Yeah, just multiple Leeds goals, and then realising there was loads of blues in the pub. But it was really, we had a nice time.
We had a nice time.
I like you made that as if like that was a special thing that you had a pint, by the way. Oh, yeah, we managed to have a pint.
Me and Adam together, I think it's quite rare now. It's harder. It's harder. Hey, but we've all got children. But never mind, we're all in a fantastic mood because Liverpool have won a game. I was buzzing Tuesday night. I was still buzzing when I woke up Wednesday morning. I was like, this is great. We're in, playing all night.
The old days.
Like the old days of September.
Yeah, no, it is remarkable, isn't it? Like, how much it changes your mood. I sometimes, in lots of the other stuff, I'm involved in talk to the pool about things. And you can never underestimate the irrationality of football fans.
Yeah.
We all come and watch millionaires play football, and they don't see it until we're moaning at them about something, and then we win a game, and it's like, oh, well, this is all right, isn't it? Let's do this again. So no, it does change the mood, and you hope that maybe is happening inside the training ground this week as well. It does change things for people, and that maybe optimism amongst fans and players might help going into Saturday. But also, I think when you look at the game on Tuesday night, as well as the optimism, we've won, it's nice. You do start to see maybe we're trying to figure out a way to play, which I think has been one of our biggest challenges. So no, it all feels good. You get to feel like you're talking about this. Well, let's see if we're still saying this at 5:30 on Saturday night. But you get to talk about this in a slightly different way than you would have on Tuesday afternoon.
I think going to a big ground, playing against a proper team and beating them, you'd hope does a lot for them, in terms of the players, in terms of, how they're feeling about the season is going. Now, they've beaten big teams already this season, then sort of slip back. So like Jay says, there's no guarantee that, everything is sorted. But, I mean, it can only help, surely.
Yeah, no, massively. It's funny with Liverpool at the San Siro, isn't it? In the 21st century, we just win.
Yeah.
But no one before that game was looking at that. Even you look at the bookies' odds, like how they priced Liverpool, no one was expecting it. I think what we wanted was, first of all, a committed display. We were interested to see how the team would react to, both the late, I was about to say winner, late equaliser against Leeds felt like a winner in the ground. And then obviously Salah's comments, but we got a committed display and we got more than that. I think I was really impressed with them, to be honest. I was really impressed with their shape. I was really impressed with the defensive display, because that's been something where we've fell down massively. And the fact that Liverpool are able to stay in a game away from home, European night, difficult ground to go to in theory, and then find a way to win at the end. It was brilliant. I was exactly the same as you, by the way. I didn't realize how much it would mean to me until the final whistle, and I was like, fucking yes. And Rebecca's like, I thought you were shit, and we're like, we are, but we're not.
We're shit.
Yeah. What are you being like that for?
Stop living in the past.
And then you start to look at the table, and you see that we've beaten 4 of the teams above us, and you start to tell yourself a story about the European Cup. So no, I'm bang into it.
I had 2 cans of non-alcoholic lager watching the game. Felt smashed afterwards. But you thought euphoric. Honestly, unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I was having fizzy orange, but yeah, the same.
How much of this fizzy orange have I had?
That might have been more alcoholic.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, as Craig said, it scrambled my brain a bit. I was struggling to sleep afterwards, because I was like, what does this mean? And it's really hard to decide now what level we're at. And I suppose that's the big thing, where I was already getting this feeling a little bit during the game of, I think there was a couple of, there was one big thing where we did sort of get the stuffing knocked out of us and the momentum knocked out of us a bit, which was the disallowed Konate goal. And I was texting my dad about it, and he was saying, I think we've maybe lost a bit of our, gumption or whatever it is, lost a bit of what we had. And I was saying, we can't. For me now, that we've run out of excuses to be like knocked off at any momentum we might have had. We need to just have some grit. And I felt like we did, and that needs to continue, really, because that I was again, sort of as Craig said, I was happy kind of just for a performance before we started, and it was the same, I think, against Real. We'd had some poor results, and I just wanted to see us perform. And I think now we're at the stage where we need it to not be a false dawn, and that grit sort of needs to continue. And the slightly negative thing is, why can we do it against Inter and Real? You know, and there's, I do think that points towards there being an attitude thing that's among the many other reasons why this season's been crap. Basically, is there's been an attitude problem among some of the players. The two that pop into my head is Konate and McAllister. They both play really well in them games, but other games not so much at all. Basically, so. They all need to knuckle down and show that sort of solidity and team spirit, and whatever it is, the fact that we're more solid without Salah, and maybe the whole thing going on around Salah maybe did make them feel more of a team the other night. But whatever it is, they've got to circle the wagons and continue it, because it's, you know, we can't have another false dawn now this season.
No more false dawns. Anna mentioned Konate there, Jay. There was a few good individual performances. I thought Konate played well. Curtis Jones really eye-catching. The stats that have come out afterwards, just showing, you know, his passing, not just his retention, which we used to see him, but just how progressive he was with the ball. Gravenberg gets man of the match from UEFA. I think it was Szoboszlai gets man of the match from the club. You can't really argue with either. Quite a lot of good individual performances in there.
Yeah, no, I thought that I'm gonna have saved those Curtis Jones stats for Saturday for some of the fellas around me at the bar. So they're getting given out. I've got 20 copies. Who knows any photocopiers now? But I think and those individual performances also come at us a bit of that grit, a bit of like we're gonna keep working hard, and we're gonna do the basics almost. There were times when Inter Milan were coming out from the back where you were like, no, like, why are we letting them come over the halfway line? But I was like, no, we're gonna back ourselves to defend. We're not gonna try and press too much and let them get in behind and then lose our shape. I like Jones where he was on the pitch. I think we have struggled. I think we need to change formation. I think that's part of our wider thing. We need to change that formation a little bit. And I think Jones proved he's more than capable of doing a job out there. In the old way of like when you had like a Wijnaldum kind of playing on the left of midfield, like he does a job, and he actually does a lot more than you realise until he's not playing. So there was that. I think, you know, if you were angry at Konate, and you maybe still are about stuff he's done, you look at his performance and you think, well, that's what I want to see more of. Yeah. We could live in the past with me, and it is a very recent past, being angry about Liverpool stuff, but the players are what we've got. Konate's playing every week because we haven't got players. I want them to be sitting there thinking, well, you know what? We just need to do a little bit more of that. That should be the manager and the captain are saying to them, a little bit more of that, lads.
He concentrated for 90 minutes with Konate. That's what he did against Inter Milan. He concentrated for 90 minutes. It's not what he did against Leeds.
Thank God, this is really, I'm in a dangerous place here, like for my position in the team or future at this club or wherever. He's maybe just knuckled down a little bit, and it is just do that. You know, be strong in defence, be a threat on corners like he was. That seeing a little bit more of that. Even when Bradley come on, I think like he stayed really wide. We had a way of playing. I thought it wasn't just like. I think when we've been playing poorly, we probably wanted a few individual performances. Think like just get us through this game and win us a game kind of thing. As well as the individual performance, it felt like we were trying to find a way of playing. And I look at that and I think, you know, two proper fullbacks almost. You know, we had Gomez stayed quite wide, right, a fair bit, but Bradley, when he's on the same, Robertson was doing the same. He's like offering a threat. You can kind of see the beginnings of something he might try and do with that midfield and attack now, particularly whatever the Salah situation is, he's going to AFCON. You might see the starting of something, but I just hope it gives them confidence, because I, as a fan, like we've all just said, I've come away thinking, you know what, you've actually shown you can do this. You've shown you can win games. You've shown you can go to difficult places. You've shown you individually can perform. Now put all them three together and do it for 3 or 4 games. So I hope they're getting some confidence from that, because and in a way it's interesting that there are so many individual accolades spread across, you know, Jones' stats, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch getting those. Can I say and moreover no real criticism for anyone, that they can come away with a bit of confidence, go like, that's our foundation now and we build on that.
I think that's it. I think it feels sustainable rather than being like a moment of magic. Or
obviously we're fairly lucky with the VAR, but then we're unlucky with the previous VAR. It just felt like the performance it felt stable and it felt like something to build from. Like even, you mentioned the midfield. I thought Curtis Jones was brilliant against Leeds, and I was in the ground and haven't watched it back, so I may be wrong on that. But in the ground, it felt like he was the one that was like grabbing the game. But even the way like it felt like Gravenberch didn't go forward too much this time. He left it to the others. The fact that when you brought the subs on, like, which was ironic given the fact that we couldn't even fill our subs bench, but the subs whenever they come on made Liverpool better for the first time in a long time. But instantly slotted in. Thought Wirtz was brilliant. I thought Bradley offered a threat. So I think like there was loads of positives, but it was positive to me because it felt like there was a foundation there to then go, right, we do this from now on.
Yeah, it does feel like maybe to go with the diamond. I'm not one of these who thinks there's a perfect formation or there's a formation that a team should play. I think it should suit the players that you've got, and it feels at the moment like it suits certainly more of what we've got available, fitness wise. I think the fullbacks, coming back, I thought Gomez did well. At right back, he was pressing up really high. He's always willing, isn't he? But then Bradley came on, and you could see what an attacking fullback could look like in that system. And you think, well, Frimpong's probably looking at that and thinking, I'll have some of that. I've got that whole right hand side in front of me, and just sort of watch me go here. I'm sure Kirkes is watching that, thinking like, I can imagine what I can do. We probably haven't seen it as much bombing on from him, considering that's what we bought for. And then obviously the two up fronts, they don't quite get there with the understanding between them, but it's a way of getting them both on the pitch, which feels like it is necessary if we're going to get what's out of them. And Wirtz does a start, but he is a number 10, and this formation has a number 10, and so it feels like it suits a lot of us individually as well as allowing us to be compact collectively.
As you just said, it suits what we bought.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think, especially in terms of the fullbacks, the 4-3-3, much as we've loved it over the years, it isn't working. It's not worked this season. The 4-3-3 hasn't looked very good, and the fullbacks especially, I can't figure out what they're doing really in that 4-3-3. So moving to a diamond makes sense in that sense, and it probably doesn't make sense when Salah's in the team as much. So we were moving towards a time with Salah going off to AFCON anyway, where this was the sort of thing that we were expecting maybe to see. So yeah, it does make sense. The one to fly in the ointment for me is Isak. It doesn't. Like I've heard mixed reviews of his performance the other night. I didn't think it was very good. I think I can see where people are getting this sort of optimistic thing of like, oh, he is making the movement and we're just not slipping him in. I was watching it thinking I can't really see what service he kind of wants, and it didn't seem as though him and Ekitike understand each other at all really. So that's the only one where I'm like, I would love to see him spring into life and sort of develop an understanding with someone, whether it's Wirtz or Ekitike. But yeah, that's the one where I'm kind of still scratching my head a bit, and I think that probably needs to work for that diamond to keep going forward as a going concern. So
do you not think though you can play him in form a little bit more with the diamond? I think the problem I found when we were given in that run of games was, well, first of all, Ekitike was on the bench for a lot of them, and I didn't necessarily agree with that because I think, well, he's the one who's looked at, and then he's got Salah to the right hand side of him out of form and Gakpo on the other, and I felt like that put more pressure on him. Whereas it feels to me in a diamond, I don't think he played well the other night as well. But if we're gonna have to give him a go, or it's definitely not going to work. And I think with Ekitike up alongside him, hopefully, getting in the goals, he already scored against 2 at Leeds. With finding a way to get Wirtz into the team, I feel like that's giving him every chance. And also, you're allowing for the fact that there should be goals from others.
Yeah, and I suppose, having said what I said, we still did manage to get a result, didn't we? Yeah. So it shows that formation, you can carry him a little bit, you can carry a player a little bit, and that is, if your number 9's not involved as much, that is the one really where you are carrying it in that formation. So yeah, I mean, I think as you were saying, the other forwards, we've managed to either play them or drop them all out of form. Like it's been a bit of a mess really. Ekitike was the one who should have stayed in the team, and because he was so good to start with, he suspended and has a little injury as well. And then Gakpo, I feel like we've played him out of form. Isak has played at all the wrong times. So yeah, there's I mean, we can't just keep starting again. It's like the government. This is it. This is phase 2 now.
It's all right, Jay. It's okay. You come here to get away from them, you know.
They're messing me all over again.
But yeah, there is time. There is a bit of a clean slate anyway. With sort of as I keep referring to Salah being off to AFCON and the other thing. So there is a thing to review and refresh the forward line and what people are doing at the minute.
This last few minutes, you called him Keir Starmer there. Big cold verse, I bet you this week. But
Oh, honest lads had much more success, much more to hold his hat on. I don't know about you as well, Jay, but you know, obviously, I think the goal was 88, is it something like that? And then you get to stoppage time, and I was relatively comfortable watching it. And obviously, you'd always shit yourself a little bit because you really want to win, but I'm not watching it like I've been watching recently. Like 9 minutes went up against Leeds, and I was like, fuck. I mean, they'll probably get 2 in that time. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so long. Whereas Milan, I was just like, I don't know whether they just looked, you know, better, more so to put, I don't know what it was, but you know, that was a nice feeling as well. Not watching stoppage time, like, you know, from behind the sofa, and you could.
No, well, that's it. I kept thinking
over.
whenever they had a shot, they were going to score just because of how we've played, less because I really thought that was going to happen in the game. It didn't. I never felt like we were really, really under the cosh. I never really felt like, you know, we were playing badly and they deserved to score, which is an improvement because teams have had really, really good chances against us. So it is that thing of just being defensively solid and just kind of having maybe each your lines. We retreated a lot in that game more than I've seen us do previously, but we just do have to go back to those basics. But yeah, I didn't feel thingy, and I'd have been happy with a draw. I'd have been comfortable because I think we'd looked better and we looked more solid, and it just arrests that bit of a kind of decline. But there was a bit of me thinking, but the confidence bit would really be a win here. And we do get fortunate, but at the same time, that happens in games. Even when Liverpool were brilliant under Klopp, you know, we weren't going around and blitzing teams 3 or 4-0. You know, we've done it a few times, just like a City or that, but we were going and, you know, it was 1-0s, 2-0s. You made up with them. And under Benitez, the game reminded me a bit of when we played Milan when Torres scored there, where, you know, a 1 or 2-0 win's fine. And however you get the goals is however you get the goals. And yeah, it's a fortunate penalty in the sense of when he throws himself on the floor, but the bit that really does for Bastoni is when, like, the fella just shows the referee the I'm holding. It
starts there.
It starts when I'm holding it, which is fair. If the shoulders fall,
well, Karate got him by that, like the last week as well. Just went over and he was.
But it was a bit like, but mate, like I think there were a few people thinking, oh, he hasn't pressed play. It's like, no, mate, he just held them for that long. It's like Craig's trying to stop us. Me and Craig's trying to stop our kids running into. No, you can't go near the oven. You just hold them, staying in one place. He just held them. So, you know, you take that. You get fortunate into feel hard done by. But I think I've seen you tweet this, John. If Kanate had done this, we'd have been calling him all kinds. So he shouldn't have done it. You give the referee the chance to make a decision. Vert realises he isn't buying this. Me not being able to move, so I'm just going to throw myself on the deck, and we take that, and you come away from him there, and it changes the whole dynamic of not just our confidence, but that league. Liverpool are looking at that thinking, all right, we move up to 8 there, we feel like we're in and around. And I hope they have that same mindset about the league when they're looking to Brighton, because 1 or 2 wins. Look at Villa. I didn't realise how poor Villa had started this season.
Yeah, really bad.
And then they're like, now they went 3 points off Arsenal because they'd won 5, they were in the bottom 3. I was like, well, imagine if we won 5 on the spin, that's what we could do, like with the league. But like, it's that thing of like, you know, just give you that sense of, well, you know what, you can just grind teams out 1-0. But we're going to have to do a bit of this, because I think in the beginning of the season when we were winning just 1-0 or winning by the odd goal, everyone's like, imagine what we'll really do when we signed all these players. Well, we signed all these players and we didn't do any of it. So maybe we just go back to winning 1-0. I think that's the challenge for Isak, though. I think how we played at the beginning of the season is what we wanted Isak for. Fast, quick passes in behind. And now we've regressed from doing that because we're a bit nervous of just giving the ball away. So he's got to figure that out, but we've got something to build upon. I'd look at this and say, if we have rediscovered our defensive solidity, that's a good thing to try and do as you come up to loads of games. Can you now build on those things? I would like him to, regardless of the Salah situation. I think that means you keep the team as much the same as you can. You maybe swap Wirtz for McAllister. I'd probably do that on Saturday, but as much as time possible, play them into form. Find a way of playing.
I'm interested to see Liverpool get through the game against Brighton without an individual error, because I haven't seen that performance against Inter. It then made me start to think about Leeds. And again, I was at the game, I haven't watched it back, but like up until Kanate's like mad tackle, Liverpool felt comfortable,
Yeah.
and the away end felt comfortable. The away end was fucking brilliant against Leeds because we felt like, right, this is going to happen today, and then that just like switches the entire thing.
You could even say the same about Forest at home. It's not as good, obviously, because we weren't winning, but we were playing well against Forest at home, and there's an individual error again that makes everything switch. So yeah, we need to be able to cope with individual errors, I guess, or not make them.
Yeah.
Coping with them is really what you need to do, because it does happen.
Yeah.
You can go wrong.
Okay, if you've enjoyed this and you thought, I'd love to watch this in person with a drink in my hand, then boy, have we got good news for you, because I know. Because we're going to Ireland in February and Australia in March. So really looking forward to all these live dates. You can buy tickets for any of these shows at theanfieldwrap.com/TAW live. That's theanfieldwrap.com/TAW live. So in Ireland, we're currently down to do Limerick, Dublin and Belfast. We're looking for a venue for the Friday night currently as well. But we have booked in to do Limerick on the Wednesday, Dublin Thursday and Belfast on the Saturday. They are in February, just before the Man City home game. And then in March, we are back in Australia, Sydney, Melbourne. There's 2 shows in Melbourne and early on a late show. Auckland this time, first time we've ever done New Zealand, which is fantastic. Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth as well. So yeah, fantastic opportunity. Last time Australian shows were absolutely brilliant.
My mate's going to text me on this now. He lives in Melbourne, be like, I'll be going. All what you say is to make sure I can get a ticket.
Yeah, well, it's the comedy club, isn't it, in Melbourne? It's really good. Run by a big Liverpool fan as well. So yeah, it's a great space. So back there. So anfieldwrap.com/TAW live. Okay, that is the end of part 1. In part 2, we're going to talk about Mo Salah, and in part 3, we're going to look ahead to Brighton. So if you're enjoying this as a video, you'll have noticed this beautiful frame next to me, this digital photo frame. Adam is looking forward. This is the Carver frame from our friends at Order Frames, and it's available for you to buy if you're looking for someone to get a Christmas present, or you just want something nice for yourself, for the office. That's what we've done. We've put some lovely pictures on there from times gone by, great memories at the Anfield Wrap. Just have a look through them, Craig. Remember how much fun you've had since I offered you a job. It's City Jones. On Slater Street. And look at what's happened there. Look,
it's actually the partnership I've been most excited about with the Anfield Wrap. Do you remember last Christmas when I was telling everyone to get these frames for Christmas?
Yeah.
I need to find someone else to buy this frame for this Christmas, because they've got it the last 2.
Yeah, Craig's family watch this. You're one of them.
Wasn't as smart as that, the one he got me. And this one, it is a great personal gift for anyone who's struggling to buy it for Christmas. It looks great, as you can see, and it's easy to use. You just download the Order app to get started. You can upload unlimited photos and videos, and best of all, you can keep updated to it anytime, anywhere. It even comes in a premium gift box, which is great. So if you go to Order Frames, Order, if you don't know, is spelled A-U-R-A. I struggle to say it then. A-U-R-A, orderframes.co.uk, and you can get £35 off this best-selling Carver math frame by using the promo code TAW at checkout. So there we are. Okay, let's talk about Mo Salah. Jay, I've not heard your opinion yet on it. I know what Craig thinks.
I feel like I'm going to be one of the things. I done a show once where Torre had done something, and I went and called him a dickhead on the show. Everyone really. But my instinct is, I just think he's been a bit of a divvy, to be honest. I think he can be annoyed, he can be disappointed, he can even want to say something if he wants. He can't stop me. I think I heard the manager say something on this, which is something you've got a right to say something. He's not free of consequence in doing it. He just went a bit too far, didn't he? That said, I think that the test now, and we might get into what he said and what he should or shouldn't have said, but the test now is, I think the ball is in his court. I think he's got a decision to make. I think he's got to go and talk to the manager. I think there's a way back. I don't think it's the end. I'm bought into this conspiracy theories that it's trying to force him out. I think he doesn't necessarily even need to do a public apology.
I don't need an apology.
I think
just fucking play.
Yeah, I think he just needs. No, that's the thing. I think he goes in. He needs to speak to the manager. He probably needs to apologise to the manager and probably the player.
Yeah.
Take his hand off stuff.
I just mean
but he just needs to put something on his Instagram and be like, I want to win for Liverpool. Whatever I've said or done is just because I want Liverpool to be the best. And he said this kind of stuff before about wanting us to win titles and stuff like that. That's where my focus is now. And everyone's be like, sound, turn up, score a goal or two, come off the bench against Brighton, score a goal or two, go to AFCON, win it and maybe do it the opposite way down this time, where usually you play dead good and go to AFCON and then come back and never score again.
Yeah, just
go there and just reverse him now. Like maybe this is it, and we'll come back and all will be forgotten in May. When we lift the victory.
Reverse Salah.
We'll call it. Do that,
Reverse Salah.
Can't you?
I feel unbelievably fresh now. Let's go.
These boxing. That's the end of part 2.
Here's where we never see Mo Salah.
I mean, that sounded great. It does feel like a big day, Craig, for, you know, in terms of what does happen next. We don't know what's happened behind the scenes. We don't really know if anything's led to, you know, Salah's outburst, if you want to call it that, or whether he's just in a really basic way frustrated. But whatever's happened, and however anyone's feel, like, you know, today feels like the day where they'll either sort it or not, and hopefully they will.
Yeah. Obviously, I really hope they do. A part of me wonders whether it's one of those things that we don't really hear anything about. He doesn't play against Brighton. He goes to AFCON, then he comes back, and then, you know, suddenly he's back in the team, and they try and move it on. I think with football, like, everyone sort of forgets that football moves on so quickly, and within days there's another story. As soon as the next game happens, you know, we move on slightly to something else. There'll be something else that Carragher's talking about on MNF on Monday. I think what Jay said there is spot on, and that's what I would like to see. I think I'd like them just to go in, say to everyone, yeah, Saw's about that. I think what's interesting from his quotes, and it was the bit that I was sort of a bit like, in terms of what he said about them thrown under the bus and about someone wanting to sell him. Like, I want to know where that's come from, because you know, I was pissed off when I saw him do it, but then over the weekend started to think, like, why has he done this? Like, he can't be doing this over 3 games. So to me, if all of this is over just 3 games where he's been dropped, but 4 now where he's not played, but 4 games where Liverpool have not been beaten in and have looked a little bit more stable, albeit what happened against Leeds. You know, his hand's not strengthened at all. So particularly if Liverpool if he doesn't play against Brighton, Liverpool go on and win it, as an example, then, you know, you start to feel as if the tide's turning, at least away from getting beat every week. And Mo Salah's not been involved here. So I'm really interested to see what next. I'd love him to be in the subs bench, not least because it means we can fill our subs bench.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. Like I'm not sure if I agree with Craig there, because I was thinking about in terms of the sort of conspiracy side of things and being thrown under the bus. I'm just not sure if it's that. For me, it didn't feel that deep. It didn't feel as though it was a thing that was going on for longer. And I just, in the end, well, my feelings were, to start with, after having been for a pint with John and having seen us being disappointed and generally feeling a little bit annoyed anyway, my first thought was, well, I'm glad someone said something, because it feels like we kind of we needed a bit of a shake-up. And then the next day I was like, oh, maybe not. He's not really done anything to help the club, I said, or help the situation.
Let's say something, not that.
Yeah, not that. Yeah, and then, you know, and I think the main thing is that Liverpool need to win games, because if we'd won against Leeds, he probably wouldn't have said it. And as we've been saying, things do move quickly in football. And I think what we kind of mean is Liverpool won the other day, and suddenly he seems a little bit like he cuts a lonely figure now. I don't think he would do that sort of same, here I am in the gym sort of thing after on the back of wins, because
After a walk at the park.
Yeah, well, it makes him look like he's the dickhead on his own now, and everyone else is having a nice time winning. So in terms of like predicting, I'm not. I really find it. I do find it a bit tricky, and I know Slot was at pains not to give a headline the other day, but the interview with Seedorf, I thought Seedorf was amazing, by the way, when he kind of lightly grilled Slot about whether.
Yeah.
Oh, question was my
Slot was trying to move on and say that was having none of
it. It was the kind of.
Almost like he'd had a text or something.
It was like they had a laugh, and then Seedorf was like, no, but seriously, like, I'll ask you that one again. Who do you think should be making the first move? Because for me, it's the manager.
Really?
Yeah.
So
he wouldn't let
Slot didn't agree.
Yeah, he wouldn't let him go with it. But so, and I get that Slot was trying not to give a line, not to give a headline, an easy one, a big story to carry the thing on. He wants to pour cold water on it. But I did find his reaction a bit like, I don't know if disappointing is the word, but there was something there where I thought, oh, I wonder whether this is fixable in a way, because it didn't seem as though Slot, maybe representing the club, feel like they are willing to kind of make that first.
Well, interesting. Slot in the pre-match ones, Prime had done a video and he's asked about it, and he just looks so fucked off. As like, I haven't really had a chance to speak to him, blah, blah, don't know much about it. You know, he's right to say, he's got freedom to say something, but there's no consequence kind of thing. It's like, it's almost like as if he's thinking to himself, well, hang on, I told you Friday you weren't playing. You've seen me since several times. Like, why haven't you come and spoke to me? Why haven't you said what you said? I think this way Salah's been a bit naive. If he wanted to say as much as he said, or he thinks he's being forced out, there's loads of smarter ways to do that without you throwing your teammates under the bus. But I don't, that's why I think Liverpool, I think it is redeemable in Liverpool's mind as well. And I think Liverpool do think it's gone too far from him, but aren't trying to force it because they were at pains to say this isn't disciplinary action in him not playing. And I think there's an argument that you would have easily seen players dock wages for that. And if they the doctor's wages, that probably would have been the bit they knew would have been a red rag to a bull, but they didn't need to. They kind of think this is enough. Is this going to be the bit where you need to sit at Kirby and reflect on this and think to yourself? And I think the manager should call him in today. I think Sadov's a bit like, the manager should say, I want a meeting, but then probably sit there and say, so what have you got to say? Yeah. So what have you got to say? He's extending the thing, saying at the meeting, and I think if he says the right thing, the manager will say, listen, I don't have to be your mate. I want the best out of you. You're a talent, and Liverpool know he's a talent and all that. But if this isn't like Liverpool trying to protect an asset that they've still got to sell, because Liverpool could dock his wages and put him up for sale and say, well, lads, you get that much, we get this fee for you or not. Like, Liverpool would still get a fee for him if they disciplined them. They don't need to. I don't think there's an intent for Liverpool to want to force him out the door before this or now.
If you're sort of going into that in terms of the business side of things, it's a bit of a conflict there, because I don't think it wouldn't be in Liverpool's interest to publicly have the relationship continue to be broken down, because then that means if they are trying to offload him, you get less.
Oh, that's why today, as John said, is key, innit?
Yeah.
Today's, what comes out of it. And this is, I think we said before, when that, you don't want the manager talking about this, and things will move on. But it only moves on if something happens. Because if the manager will have to do a pre-match tomorrow, whenever he does the interview at Kirby, he's going to be asked if he's spoken to. So that's question number one. Yeah. And then it's going to be, what did he say? Has he spoken to? Has he apologised to the team? They're going to have to find different ways to potentially say the same thing. If there's been no communication, everyone will be no doubt looking at the videos and stuff like that. But that's where you'd kind of say, mate, if you're going to say something, or we're going to say something, we say it today. We deal with it so the manager's not having to do that.
Not the AFCON, by the way, where he's going to get asked. Absolutely. Asked, and he's away from his teammates.
This needs to be done before then, yeah. This needs to be done before then. It needs to be done before the manager. You can't have the manager having to field questions on this tomorrow. Liverpool would need to take, if he doesn't say something or doesn't get sorted today, that's where you might see a Richard Hughes or someone having to take responsibility. Because I think we've done this in the past on Klopp, and I've always felt it was unfair. Klopp's dealing with club level questions in a press conference.
Yeah.
Well, the whole point of changing the roles was because it was too much on Klopp. So I would agree with that. What did the Brentford Seedorf interview, which I found really interesting, probably most interesting, was Seedorf said something like, well, we all make mistakes. And Arne Slot said, but does he think he's made a mistake? And I think that was quite telling to me, because I've never really bought into the Christian idea of forgiveness, in that I think you do have to say sorry before, I mean, certainly I will go, okay, do you know what I mean? I think and it seemed that Arne Slot is with me on that. You have to show some sort of level of contrition before you sort of ready to move on. If you don't, and I feel like if he doesn't, then Arne Slot was like, well, I'm not going to play you then.
And this is why I do think it's trickier than it might seem, and trickier than maybe Seedorf was making out, because maybe it might be that's two immovable positions. Salah might feel like he should be playing,
and he's got a right to do what he did.
Yeah, and he's got a right to do what he did, and Slot might just literally think the opposite. And obviously the club led by Slot have acted in the opposite way. And that's where I am, to be honest. I've got sympathy with Slot, and in another sense, I sort of think he's like the wrong man to sort it. So I think that I agreed with dropping Salah. I think me and Jay were talking about it on the way down here. We needed to be more compact, and compact. It didn't work. That idea didn't kind of work with Salah in there. It wasn't the only thing you could have done, but it was one thing. And then we saw that it worked against West Ham. Sunderland's a bit of an anomaly, really, but yeah. So you can see that we've not been amazing, but we've been getting better results than we were when we were getting beat by 3 goals every week against poor teams. The reason I sort of worry, I don't know if worry is the right word, because these things happen and we will move on either way. I kind of think that Slot doesn't see it, as well as the fact that he's been given the head coach role. I don't think he sees that as part of his role to personally help players. I think he talks about levels and he does this hand thing all the time. He's doing it all last season. I think he really treats them all like grown-ups. He treats them like elite athletes and grown-ups, and he thinks it's up to them to get to this point. And if you're not, which is fitness and form, and if you're not there, then you're out. And that's and it's not part of my job as coach to help. And I kind of disagree with him there. Like I think we've seen different coaching styles in the past, and I do think that is a string he could add to his bow a bit. And I do think it's a bit cold. You know, it works as long as you're getting results, and I think that's what this season showed. And I think I did say it last season, is that he didn't kind of have that. You know, he didn't have the dips that you sort of see. You know, when you get to see the manager's full personality, because he's working and fighting his way out of dips, and he needs his team around him. I think that's a big part of what we've seen this season, is that when we've had this dip, he kind of hasn't. He's been a bit of a lone figure, because he hasn't really. He doesn't rate that as a thing. You know, he doesn't as. That's a bit unfair, maybe a bit harsh, but he doesn't see that as a big part of what he needs to be doing. And yeah,
I remember hearing last year that he, in comparison to Klopp was like your mate in training, and Slot was absolutely not. And Slot wouldn't let you get away with anything, while Klopp at different times would. And I think that will be interesting over the coming days, because I wonder whether there's a role for Van Dijk here, in that. What would be interesting to me is how the players have reacted to this internally, because if they're reacting to it in a way of going like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, why we're getting difficult enough. It puts Salah in, you know, it makes Salah out on his own here, really. If the players can, and particularly the captain, can be like a bit of a middleman here and go like what do I need to do to try and sort this? Like, you know, what is it that you want, and what is it that you want, and how do we meet in the middle to fucking, you know, get this season on track and hopefully win something at the end of it, and then you can go off if that's what you fancy doing. So I just wonder whether that's going to be the move. The club wouldn't say that he's not playing against Brighton, would they? It would be up to then the manager. Would that be right?
I mean, apparently
he said he was out for a short while.
Yeah, but
I say nothing else.
I think the decision to leave him behind was like wider than just the manager. I think.
Yeah.
But then I think he clearly backed it. Do you know what I mean? So
that's my question.
Is he available? Is he going to be? Is he available?
We're going to have to answer that question today, because it's going to get asked tomorrow.
Yeah. I think if Slot's happy to pick him, I don't think Richard Hughes would go, no, you can't, because he's done this. But
that'll probably depend on what happens today. If the manager says, I want to play him on Saturday, Richard Hughes might, or someone else at the club might go, well, as he spoke to, he goes, nah, he's walked past me and blanked me. They might go, it's unlikely. I think the players are an interesting thing on this as well, because I think it's, Van Dijk says something in midweek, doesn't he, about needing Salah, and I don't think he means just on the pitch. I think he means like kind of leadership roles. I thought Alisson was really good on this in the pre-match interview, and I think he's talking, and I got the sense in Alisson thinking there, and he says something similar about, you can say it, but like, doesn't mean like people aren't going to take it a particular way. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were going like, almost like, come on, mate, like, you could have said something, but a bit stupid, really. Like,
Robertson said similar on the pitch.
Robertson said similar. Gerrard's stuff where he's talking kind of goes, you know, he says, doesn't he? He thinks Salah will be sitting there probably, maybe last night, sitting there thinking, just wish I hadn't said that bit. I was fine until I said that. Anyone who's ever had an argument or done something, maybe with another half, thinks, I was winning the argument until I said that. Yeah. And that was the bit. And interestingly, I think Salah does this in his interview. In his interview, he starts talking about relationships broke down with the manager. I don't think they want to keep me. I've been thrown under the bus. And then he starts asking him who. And it's at that point, it's almost as if he goes, what have I done? I've opened the door here, because then they're going, is it Richard Hughes? Is it this? Is it that? And he's like, if you read the transcript, he's like, well, I don't know who it is. And you'd have to, like, kind of thing. He's then just like saying, I just wanted to moan to you about my emotions, which is fine. He can be emotional. I think Salah doing an interview would have been enough. It's that he said a bit too much, and that's the bit he needs to say. I think I want players fired up. I want them annoyed when they come off. I don't get like that. Some people go, oh, look at him flaunting. I want him to be annoyed he's come off, because I want that to fire them up for the next game. But I want him to maybe think, I've done too much here. I want him to prove, whoever he thinks it is that's trying to sell him wrong at the weekend or in the games to come. But I do think he needs to say to them, and just own. He might not say he's sorry, but he needs to say, I didn't mean it to come across it is, but I have gone too far. That's that concession, innit? I've gone too far. Evidently, it's upset people. I didn't mean it to, but it's upset people, and I'll apologise for that. Speak to my teammates. It's done behind closed doors. everyone does nice social media posts, which seems to be the thing, and then all happy days.
Because that's the thing, like you'd think, my point in the players was you'd think that of anyone they would understand, you know, because these conversations probably happen all the time. These arguments happen all the time that we never see. It's just that this time he's stepped one step too far and gone and spoken to the media. So, you know, feels like they're the ones to go, come on, mate, like fucking hell, you hear it with Gerrard, you see with Sado, if they're all saying you make a mistake, like go and apologise for it.
This is one of that challenges though of elite level players, in it, because I think like when Gerrard was done this and he was flirting with Chelsea and stuff like that, I think everyone would have thought, Carrick can say something to me, but could he? Is he his mate in that way? And I think they're matey, but was he his mate to say something to him? Was Gerrard at that level in the same way I think Salah is, that he doesn't even hear it? He exists in his own world of like ability and commitment to doing something that maybe they know you can't say something to him. Maybe their thing to him might just be to just almost look at him and just go,
I think
what are you going to do now?
Alisson sounded like he would. Alisson talked about the fact that
he's going to speak to him.
Alisson talked about the fact that he played with him in Rome and stuff like that, which I think you forget, but is important, because it's almost like he knows him before he became, you know, the big, huge superstar. He was obviously, you know, still a big deal in Egypt, of course, and still a, you know, top level footballer. But he knows him sort of before that. So I wonder whether that'll help. It's going to be a fascinating day. I'm going to be glued to X whether I like it or not. And yeah. I know it's not a great place to play. I've checked it 3 times when we've been doing this. Just imagine if something broke. Yeah. But it's going to be one of them where, I mean, we won't get anything concrete, I'm sure. But we are going to have to all wait for another big press conference, another big Arsenal press conference tomorrow.
It'll be a briefing, I think. It'll be like,
do you reckon?
You know, James
10:30.
James Paul Joyce, 4 o'clock this afternoon. So if he tweets it at 4 o'clock now, I'm going to look like it's a notice. But I just think it'll be that. That'll be the smart way to do it, to make it not a thing. Liverpool need to try, given what we just said about on the pitch, they need to make this not a thing. Yeah. Whether you're moving on from it or not, they need to make it not a thing, because you can't go into Saturday and not win, or even lose on Saturday and have this still in the background, because it'll just make him going off 10 times worse. They've got to quash this.
And if they don't quash it, then the press conferences are basically becoming like strictly, you know, like a TV thing that everyone sits down to watch to see the reaction.
I was going to watch it.
Everyone the other day, you were glued to. You couldn't wait to. They said no more questions about Salah. I was like, no more questions. I want to hear more. So I hope it gets sorted.
I did see a thing. Someone said, someone apparently said, you know, there was people wondering, you know, should that press officer have pulled Salah away? I think that might have made it worse.
Yes. Oh, you imagine he's pulling him away and Salah's still showing.
His face.
I'm not leaving.
His face is incredible. Has anyone seen the thing where he just goes?
One of them where you forget the people. And I text somebody who does a similar job at that one. I was like, I really felt for him there, because that was like, he was probably also just thinking, well, that's Saturday night and Sunday's planned to go out the window, mate. Plan to go out with my mates tonight. I think I'll text them and cancel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're all going to have to wait and see, I think, but it's going to be a very interesting 24 hours. But there is, most importantly, as ever, a Liverpool game on Saturday. So when we come back in part 3, we're going to talk about that. Okay, this December we have partnered up with Think. It is all to do with the dangers of drug driving. So I'm just going to read this out the script because I don't want to get it wrong. So drugs mess with your reaction time, your focus and your judgment, all the things that you need to drive safely. So even if you might feel fine, your body and brain say otherwise. And drugs can stay in your system for longer than you think, sometimes for days or even weeks after. More and more, especially at this time of year, the police are testing people at the roadside if you suspect them of driving on drugs. So I've set it myself on the Dock Road where I drive in from South Liverpool. They're pulling people over. It's a simple swipe. And if you're positive, it could mean losing your license for a minimum of a year, an unlimited fine, and ended up with a criminal record. Could also cost you your job and give you trouble traveling to other countries like the USA. So if you want to go for the World Cup, it's not a good idea. And that's before we even consider the harm you might cause others. In short, it's not worth the risk. Now listen, no one at the Anfield Wrap is going to tell you what you can and can't do in your private life, but it is good to remind ourselves of the importance of making a plan and looking out for yourself and your mates. So this could be booking a taxi or arranging to stay over with someone that you know before the big night out, or leaving the car at home, getting the train or bus in the morning. It only takes one mistake, but you could be regretting it for a lifetime. So think, don't put drugs in the driving seat. Okay, Brighton, Adam. I think we'll see a similar formation, similar-ish players. What are you expecting?
I think so too. I think that's been. I think that he's been trying to do that. There's been maybe a couple of changes each time, so I'm not expecting it to be wildly different. And I do think that the mantra is a bit more solidity at the moment, and not doing anything silly and concentrating for the entire 90, 95, 100 minutes. So. I am expecting that. The strange thing about it is Brighton, I suppose, because they are an odd team. I always feel like they give us a good game, and
always play well at Anfield.
Yeah, and then I see their results, and they getting beaten by somebody not very good.
Drew with Wolves.
Yeah. So I don't think they're having a very good season. I think, but they're so up and down, and I think they always do play well against us. So. It looks like a good fixture for us, really. I mean, they don't have a midweek fixture either, so there will be a bit of freshness, and I do think we're starting to look a little bit leggy at times during games. So I think that we probably are okay to sort of treat it in exactly the same way as we have the last few games. I think we probably came a little bit unstuck by treating Sunderland in the same way, so hopefully they'll have learned that lesson a little bit. But yeah, I'm not expecting to see anything particularly unusual or different than what we've been seeing.
Yeah, there's a way to make it slightly more attacking, and that's with Florian Wirtz. I would expect him to start this one, and it is just who he comes in for. McAllister seems the obvious one. I mean, he was dead on his feet at the end of the game, going down with cramp, which you don't really sort of see with our lads, and so that switch would make us more attacking, which you'd maybe feel like you could get away with at home. Hopefully the manager does as well, and he said he deserves a start after his nice cameo.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. That's what I was going to say. I think that's why I like about this system, actually. You can see how it looks away from home with maybe someone like McAllister, and you can see how it looks at home with someone like Wirtz. That's exactly what I would do. I think Wirtz was great when he came on. As I said, I felt like the subs made us better. And just we're at home this time. We saw what happens at Sunderland, where we lose a half because it feels like it's maybe a bit too stable, or we're trying to keep it too stable rather than actually going for it for a bit. And I want to see the two up top together again. I want to see it with Wirtz in behind, because I think, I'm struggling to see how or what an Isak goal looks like for Liverpool. But what I feel like it might be is someone either crossing in for him or him finding pockets of space in the way he did against West Ham. What I would love to see is actually a through ball to him from someone at some stage, because we saw that time and time again against us for Newcastle, and I'm sure Ekitike would appreciate that as well. But the one sort of shame for me really is the Bradley yellow card against Leeds, because what I would have loved to have seen is this setup at home against a team like Brighton with flying wing backs, and obviously it's probably going to be Gomez given the rest of our injuries. And we were just saying he looks like a tired man, having not played a lot of football and then having played a lot now. So that would be the only thing that feels like a bit of a shame for me, but. At least you're going into this game feeling positive and excited to see some of these players play again. Yeah,
it's a shame for Bradley. You think maybe Kirkes comes in the other side. He's not tended to play Robbo for extended periods. He's brought him in for the odd game. But the Bradley one is a bit of a shame, isn't it, for him as well?
Yeah, it is, because I'm with Craig. I'd like, and this might be my conversation with my mates about the formation. I think is that how you get your width? You do go more narrow up top, and you play two up top to get the best out of those two. And I think there's a role for Salah in that long term if he wanted to. But you get your width via your full backs. You'd have a bit more of a compact midfield, and he can drop in and help out. But those lads can get up and down. So Bradley would have been good for it. But obviously the booking counts against him. Gomez looks knackered. I think he will do Kirkes for that same thing of just offering something different and fresh. Because what he doesn't want to see is more injuries. If a Robertson picked up one, he's played a lot of football. Is that Kirk hasn't actually changed for Robertson then if he wants to offer something different if it wasn't working? I think McAllister comes out for Wirtz, you put Wirtz at that top. But I'd like to see, can that midfield kind of like as time rotate a little bit round, do you know what I mean? Easy to imagine that you'll find Wirtz on the right for 10 minutes just covering in because Szoboszlai's gone forward, or Wirtz has pulled out left to find a bit of space. It gives you options as well, that kind of formation. If that goes on the bench, was he still injured? Is he going to be back?
No, he won't be back. He said a few weeks to the manager.
So there's no option there, but long term it gives you something to do. But I think that's what you've just got to play with that formation because of available players.
We're not expecting Frimpong either.
no, he's not back. It doesn't.
Yeah, he's not far off, but like the fact that he wasn't even on the bench on Tuesday, you'd be surprised to see him suddenly start. I mean, you never know, but I don't think he was far off.
Yeah.
'Cause he's someone I'd really like to see what he's got to offer. The Salah situation aside, I think I want to see because we haven't looked great in how we've played, but he does look a little bit more. Sorry to be polite to Kirkes, a little bit more thoughtful of us getting forward and getting back than I think I feel like I get from Kirkes. So I'd like to see that and just see what he's got to offer in terms of his crossing and his driving with the ball as much as any as well. It's not just overlap. He can run with the ball. He can dribble and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be Gomez in it. But there's a lot of work for that midfield to do. The real worry with the team and the injuries we've got is like, what are your changes? That's why I asked about Gakpo, because I was thinking, well, if it's not Isak, I wouldn't want him to change the formation. If he takes Isak off, it's like, who'd you put up front?
Yeah, well,
No,
Chiesa was ill, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So you think with an illness, there might be something that he can do sort of off the bench, and he can fill in a number of forward options. We know that there isn't going to be tons of them, but there's still all good players that we're talking about now, and the fact that it's 5 days helps you a little bit. Sort of, it's not quite well, but Tuesday, Saturday is a little bit longer.
Yeah, you'd like to see a bit more attacking wise from Kirkes. That Kirkes and Gomez it doesn't sound very good attacking in the attacking sense, but I'm not really sure why, because we have seen that from Kirkes, and I feel like he's been playing quite well. But it's been a sort of in the solid side of things rather than flying down and.
But more men in the box should help him because he's got such a good delivery.
I agree. So I think it is time. I think he's played probably better away recently than he has at home. So I feel like there is still something where he's feeling that pressure and hearing of some of the criticism. So hopefully he'll take some of his away form into this game. Jay was just talking about subs. I think that the subs were good on a Tuesday against Inter, and I feel like that's been something which has been noticeably bad for Slot recently. He seems like when the chips are down, he empties midfield and is just Gravenberch there on his own, and he's putting the strikers on, he's moving to Bosley to right back, and it's just that's been the nightmare really. So I feel like that we will probably see some interesting tactical things from Brighton, including substitutes. So I'd like to see us retaining the formation that we kind of have started with, and not trying to rip everything up and as I say, empty the midfield. So you would really love a couple of better changes. I get the Chiesa one, but that's what it feels like. We're at that time of the season where this does sometimes happen, and you're scratching your head a little bit for what that change is. The diamond sort of leaves us with less changes. I feel like you've got all your players on the pitch there a bit.
That's the point in the first place, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what Curtis Jones said, didn't he, after the game? He was asked about the diamond and the mix zone, and he said it's just the way to get everyone out there. It feels at the moment, which is right. But then what you say, what he means. But hey, hopefully we'll just be feeling up after 16 minutes.
I'm sure we will.
That's how it's gone.
It just feels like more protection for the fullbacks and allows the fullbacks to get up and put balls into the box, which in theory should help Isak, doesn't it? Just get all box, and it's easy. Football,
Tactics.
Yeah.
Not into it.
Don't need to watch the trends and all that with the nerds, do you? Just listen to us.
Well, if we're bigger up the other shows, the XG stuff, Craig, well,
It's a joke.
There's a lot available for subscribers. Give subscriptions available as well. TheAnfieldWrap.com/shop. And Nerds deserve Christmas presents as well.
I feel like this might be your Gerald Ratner moments here,
No. I know. We go to Nerds all the time. What was I going to say? The atmosphere will be interesting on Saturday. I'm hoping it'll be good. I feel like there has been a bit of we've all been sort of galvanised about something a little bit mad. I feel like the manager's got a little bit more support at the moment, and I feel like Tuesday got everyone going a little bit, and so I don't think they need to show us much on Saturday to get everyone going.
No, apart from everyone's accuser for about half an hour.
Oh yeah, that's right. No. But you're going to sort that.
I'm going to sort. There's a meeting this week. No, promise not going to better. I think you'll have to all that. Everyone will be chatting about Salah, so in a way that provides a distraction from talking about Liverpool being good or bad. So I think everyone will be talking about Salah before the game. Everyone will go in with this confidence we've got here. You just feel a little bit better about it all. You feel a bit happier. So if we're all feeling a little bit happier about it all, the consequence of that is, that is going to show itself in the ground. It's at 3 o'clock. It's the last home game before Christmas. A few songs, everyone will be having a pint, and people will be maybe doing Christmas stuff afterwards and stuff like that. So I think you will get a joyfulness, all decided probably by what happens today a little bit and tomorrow around Salah that might, sour it or not. But I think everyone should be thinking about like going there. Liverpool have shown they can not get beat and they can actually win games. Let's go in there and beat Brighton. And if we beat Brighton and other results go your way, you'll start looking at that league table and thinking, well, top four is like kind of an easy expectation here. Where can we get ourselves to? And that'll change people's psyches going into the game. I just want people to go in and just enjoy it. I think that's what we've got to try and just enjoy football for what it is now. Never league titles and stuff like that. All the pressure we've had last year and early in the season, it's gone. Just go and enjoy and hopefully see Liverpool be all right. Yeah. Not even great, just be all right. And that'll make us happy. And we'll all go away from our last game at Anfield before Christmas feeling happy.
I just want to sing, "Oh, come let us
adore."
Oh, yeah. Liverpool.
Yeah. So at least be winning or drawing for long enough, Liverpool. So we can sing that. Because I can't sing that if we're getting beat.
No.
I'll mention again, the amps are brilliant at Leeds. And
there's
a Christmas element to all of this. Obviously, it was a 5:30. Leeds is a horrible place to go, all of the hits. But like, it's, as you say, it's the last one before Christmas. And getting to sing that song like over and over again and like is, really sort of lifts things. So I am expecting a decent atmosphere.
Yeah.
Expect the Liverpool win?
Yeah. Come and adore them. They're all right.
They're the kings of being all right.
One of my mates in the WhatsApp group we met this morning was to Thomas Slotty. He was like, I'm backing him for now. Like, fuck it, I'll get that on the banner. Backing him for now.
Yeah. For now.
Listen, the Mets will do the business on Saturday. I'm sure there were loads more. Looking ahead to Brighton for subscribers, doing pre-match warm-up. I think tomorrow, it will definitely be tomorrow. It'll be after that press conference. So Ian, Ryan and the team reacting. So that's going to be a really interesting day. And then straight after the game, of course, post-match reaction, audio and video, all done from the Glen Book, a stone's throw away from Anfield. We think the best supportive reaction anywhere, and hopefully it is after a big Liverpool win, and hopefully you'll hear one of us, or not all of us, singing about Liverpool in the Glen Book afterwards. Come all you faithful, whatever it might be. That's the plan. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed that. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Do subscribe to the Anfield Wrap if you don't. Gift subscriptions are available at the shop. Or some nice t-shirts and hats for Christmas as well. And if you're in Ireland or Australia, come and see us. We'd love to have a beer with you and celebrate the Reds. They'll be boss by then, promise. Be second. Jay's just said it. Up the Reds.